Now, so far, we have talked about controllers and how they interact with views, but we haven't really looked at any model files. And models, we had said, are C# classes, and they include the business logic that basically what you can do to the data that is in the application. And when you are using code first development, the very first thing you create are the models. And from the models, you generate a database, and then you generate your controllers and views. So the models are really important. And if you can remember back to your relational database class, everything that you learned about relating tables, selecting primary keys, the normalization rules, that all applies here. And you need to think about these things when you are creating your classes. You also have to think about how you're going to relate the tables. So what you're going to use for a foreign key. So you can't just go in and create the classes blind. You kind of have to visualize these as database tables. Okay, so here is a little example of a model. And you can see we have product ID, which would be probably the key. We have a name, we have a price, and then this is something that's unique to .NET Core. We have something called a slug, where basically it's going to replace spaces with dashes. And that's for name. Now, once you have a model, you can actually pull it into controllers. And that is where you would retrieve data or insert new rows or delete rows. All of that database activity happens in the controller. In this little example, we are pulling in the guitar shop model, okay, which was created up here. And you can see that we are using the ID that gets passed to retrieve a specific product. Okay, and then we're storing that and passing it along to the view. Okay, so you'll notice that we have a class of product, and then we use the class to create an object. This is a database command. This little ID would correspond to the product ID. Okay, so it's basically looking in the table for that product ID. It's retrieving the row. It's storing it in the product object, and then it's passing that along to the view. Okay, this is similar, but this one is retrieving more than one row. Okay, so it's not bringing in an ID because it's using a command to retrieve all of the products. So if we had 100 products, it's retrieving all of them. Okay, it's storing it in a list. And again, the name, the object name is products, and it's passing that along to the view. Now, because data is being passed to the view has to handle that model data. Okay, and there is a couple different ways that it can do that. The view that is getting past one row, it's going to handle it something like this, where we have @model, which tells it to look at the model. Okay. And then you can see that we have our property name here, which is the column name in the table. And we have at model followed by the property name, at model followed by the property name, and then we convert it to a string that would be currency with 2 decimals. Okay, and that's all in a table. So you can kind of see our table HTML. And it's using a Bootstrap class for formatting. And then down here, you can see that we have an anchor, but instead of having attributes like we normally would have, we are looking at some special tag helpers that are part of .NET Core. Okay, and so the tag helpers basically convert to attributes, and they are supposed to make coding links easier in MVC. And our class here, again, is Bootstrap. This next view is the one that is retrieving the multiple rows. So you can see it is using a for each in the body of the table. And if you remember from your C# programming, a for each will automatically process every single row. Okay, so that is what it is going to do. And so you can see it's retrieving the name, it's retrieving the price, and then it's creating a little link after that. And it's going through each row that was sent to it from the controller. Now, just so you can see that code in action, in Hands-On 4, we're actually going to download the Guitar Shop. And that will be in the next video.